hair goals in 2021. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be talking about hair goals in 2021. So in all of my time being natural, I've been natural for now almost 10 years. I've really found that there's really 4 different categories when it comes to defining hair goals for yourself. And I've sort of outlined those here today, and I'm going to go through each of those things, and then I'm also going to talk about the specific things that you would need to do to achieve those goals. So the number 1 goal, and the most common goal I've seen, since I've been natural and on YouTube, is hair growth or length retention. The next one is really having hair that looks good or achieving your personal best. So wearing your hair in a way that looks good every single day. The next one is having healthy hair. And again, there's overlap between these different goals, but I think that people tend to have a more dominant goal. And then the next one is having someone else's hair. And that's one I've seen quite a bit on YouTube as well. So we'll get into each of these things separately. So the first one, the goal of hair growth or length retention, like I said, I think it tends to be the most common goal. Definitely when I went natural, that was my top priority. I wanted really long hair. I love long hair. So that was my goal as well. But when we sort of get into like, how do we achieve this goal? I think there are really some key things that you need to make sure you're doing if this is your goal and this is what you want to achieve. And the number 1 thing, I've said it before, I say it all the time, is protective styling. So anything that decreases the amount of manipulation that you put your hair through is going to help you achieve longer hair. It's really going to assist you in that length retention. And I talked about this in a recent video where I sort of divided protective styles into a 3-tiered system and sort of outlined what I think are better styles than others. So check that video out. Not only do you need some protective styles, but when you're in that protective style, you also need to make sure that you're decreasing the manipulation that you subject your hair to. So I think that you can have twists like this, but still manipulate them all the time, redo the twist constantly, leave it down all the time, and that's not really decreasing the manipulation as much as you could. So I think if you were to do a style like this, maybe wear it in a bun, just if you really want to make sure that you're retaining the maximum amount of length, then you want to do everything in your power to decrease how much your hair is manipulated, even when it's in a protective style. The number 3 thing is moisturizing your hair. So not only do you need to decrease manipulation, but you need to avoid anything that could cause your hair to break. So when the hair is dry and brittle, it has a tendency to break. So if you keep your hair very well moisturized, you're gonna limit opportunities for breakage. So that's really important. One of the things I will say is that I didn't explicitly mention before is one of the ways that I found to assist in length retention, growth, and health is also just keeping my hair stretched. And if you have a hair texture that's like mine, so a kinkier texture, 4B, 4C, etc., you sometimes run into the issue of single-stranded knots and your ends just sort of tangling on themselves. And I found that that is really a setup for breakage at your ends. So one of the things that has helped me a lot in my journey is just keeping my hair stretched. Blow drying my hair, but you don't have to use heat to stretch your hair. And I've shown different ways of kind of keeping my hair stretched over the course of my YouTube channel. And then a final thing I'll touch upon is just like hair supplements. And I think this is sort of a secondary thing. But in my experience, I found that, especially when I first went natural, I took MSM and biotin, and I found that those really helped in, it seemed, increasing how fast my hair grew in. So you might consider something like that. But again, I think that's really secondary. I feel like the top, the first 3 things I mentioned are what's gonna help you achieve the longer lengths. Moving on to sort of the second goal is having hair that looks good. And if you guys have been following me, you'll know that in the last part of 2019, early 2020, my goal was really to have hair that looked good. I wasn't as concerned about length retention, and I really took that as an opportunity to do different styles, experiment with heat, do my hair in different ways. And that's fine if that's your goal at this point in your journey. I think that what's important is that if your goal is to look good, that you still make sure you prioritize ways to maintain the length that you do have. So despite doing lots of different styles, you also want to make sure that you're deep conditioning, that you're moisturizing, that you're doing everything that you can to maintain the hair that you do have, even as you're trying to achieve, you know, good looking styles. So for me, I experimented with heat a lot over the last year and a half, and I wore my hair in different, you know, blown out styles. I flat ironed my hair. I think it's really important for you to define what looking good is for you. It could be wearing braid outs all the time or twist outs all the time, wearing your hair down, all of those things. Once you define what that looks like for you, then you can sort of identify what styles you want to try to achieve. And then from there, sort of make a plan, a game plan for maintaining the health of your hair, even as you're experimenting more with different styles. Number 3 is health. And again, I said, you know, there's a lot of overlap between these different goals. But if your goal is really health, then you might prioritize things like, you know, avoiding heat completely. So anything that's going to damage your hair, even in a little way, you might avoid it. So avoiding heat, avoiding excessive manipulation, very similar to if your goal were to achieve longer lengths. But if your goal is health, then you want to do everything you can to maintain the health of the strands that you have. So heat and manipulation are both things that could jeopardize that goal. So avoid those. And then finally, your goal might be to have someone else's hair. And I've seen that quite a bit on YouTube in general. And I think that we're all subject to that at some point during our natural hair journey. You might see someone's hair that you really love and you really envy. But I think what's important is that you try to not, you know, get someone else's hair, but really try to achieve your own personal best for your hair, whatever that may be. So I think that, you know, it's great to go on YouTube and look for others, you know, look to others for hair inspiration. But I think it's also important to be realistic about what, you know, your hair texture is, for example, and not necessarily, you know, try to get your hair to do something that it doesn't want to do, because I think you'll be disappointed. So for me, I think that I try to find a hair twins and then, you know, try the styles that those people are trying, because I think that those might work out better for me in the long run, that sort of thing. So it's really important, you know, not to try to get your hair to do something that it doesn't want to do, but to be really realistic about what your own personal goals are for yourself, what your personal best is for yourself, and to go after that. All right, I hope this was helpful. Let me know if you guys think that there are other hair goals that I didn't discuss today, and let me know what your hair goals are for 2021 and how you're hoping to achieve those goals. All right, thanks for watching.